There is a country on Earth that powerful nations have tried again and again to conquer. For example, the British Empire and the Soviet Union. But the result was zero. They were forced to retreat, defeated, humiliated, heads lowered. Yet again, ignoring history, the United States dared to try. At that time, they had the most powerful military in the world. F-22 fighter jets, Predator drones, night vision, satellite intelligence. With all of this, in 2001, they stepped into Afghanistan. They thought it would be easy, that within just a few days, they would take control. But that assumption proved wrong. This war lasted 20 years. Thousands of American soldiers returned home in body bags. Trillions of dollars were spent. On the other side, in Afghanistan, hundreds of thousands of Taliban fighters were also killed. But in the end, they stood there, holding the weapons left behind by America, smiling as victors. But how did they achieve this? How did a group of guerrilla fighters wearing sandals force the world's #1 military power to retreat in defeat? In today's episode, we go deep inside this 20-year war. So, let's begin. October 7th, 2001. In response to the Twin Towers attack, the United States launched Operation Enduring Freedom. The objective was clear: destroy Al-Qaeda, remove the Taliban from power. As missiles rained down from the sky, on the ground, CIA operatives and U.S. Special Forces moved in. They joined hands with the Northern Alliance. Modern weapons combined with local battlefield knowledge. At first, it seemed like a perfect success. Kabul fell, Kandahar fell. The Taliban seemed to vanish into thin air. American soldiers celebrated victory. But at that very moment, inside the mountain caves, a long-term war plan was being prepared. America's biggest mistake was this: they thought the Taliban had been defeated. But in reality, the Taliban had only changed their strategy. They took shelter in the rugged mountains, especially in places like Tora Bora. Facing advanced weapons head-on meant certain death. So they chose guerrilla warfare, hit and run. During the day, they looked like ordinary farmers, villagers. But at night, they became deadly fighters. When American troops moved through narrow mountain roads, suddenly, gunfire would erupt from all directions. From above, snipers would pick targets, one by one. The biggest confusion for the Americans was, who do you shoot? Because the enemy and civilians looked exactly the same. As they slowly started adapting to these dangers, another invisible deadly threat took away their sleep. IEDs, improvised explosive devices. They looked ordinary, but their impact was devastating. They didn't require advanced technology, no lab, no large budget. They could be made using local materials, old ammunition, wires, batteries, and a bit of intelligence. These bombs were hidden in places you would never even suspect: under rocks, beside broken roads, inside plastic bags, or even inside dead animals. Every road became a hidden trap, a mobile signal or a pressure trigger, and within seconds, a heavily armored vehicle would be torn apart. These explosions didn't just destroy vehicles, they broke morale. Every step outside meant unknown danger. Nothing felt safe anymore. But the fear didn't end there. There was something even deeper: the fear of broken trust. The United States was trying to build local forces. They trained Afghan police and soldiers. They sat together, planned together, ate together, talked together. A bond was forming between allies. But slowly, doubt began to creep in. Because hidden within these forces were Taliban insiders. They wore the same uniform, carried the same weapons, followed the same routine. But their intentions were different. They were waiting for the perfect moment. Then, a normal day, a routine meeting, someone talking, someone laughing, and suddenly, one soldier turns his weapon toward the American sitting beside him. Within seconds, everything changes. These attacks became so frequent that they got a name: green on blue attacks. meaning attacks from within Allied forces. After that, trust became the biggest risk. American soldiers could never fully relax. They held meetings with rifles in hand. They talked while watching every movement. Even the person sitting next to you could become your enemy in the next moment. The war was no longer just on the battlefield. It had entered the human mind. 2009 to 2012. This was one of the most difficult and exhausting phases of the war. Every month brought news of new losses. One coffin after another returned to America, silent, heavy, filled with questions. The war was no longer just physical, it became mental. 2011. After a long search, Osama bin Laden was found in Abbottabad. In a special operation, he was killed. Around the world, people thought maybe now the war would end. But the reality was completely different. Even after this, the conflict did not stop. In that same year, another major blow struck. A military helicopter was shot down. Inside were 22 U.S. Special Forces members. Many of them were involved in the mission that killed bin Laden. This wasn't just a loss, it was a symbolic udar, a message. The war was far from over. In fact, it was becoming even more complex. Gradually, the U.S. began to realize they were trapped in a situation with no clear path to victory. During the day, they controlled areas, but at night, they lost control. The same village, the same valley, the same road, again and again and again. This cycle never seemed to end. Over time, frustration grew. Physical exhaustion combined with mental pressure. Every mission, every step felt uncertain. And slowly, the main objective began to change. Now, they were no longer thinking about winning. They were thinking how to escape this deadly trap. August 2021. Finally, it was time to leave. 20 years, $2.3 trillion, thousands of lives. But even the ending was not peaceful. At Kabul airport, a suicide attack killed 13 more U.S. soldiers. And when the final aircraft left Afghan skies, what remained behind was a devastated country, and the story of a superpower's failure. Afghanistan is often called the graveyard of empires. Britain came, lost. The Soviet Union came, collapsed. America came and left. And the Taliban are still there, in Afghanistan. Friends, history teaches us one thing. Starting a war is easy. Ending it is not. What do you think? Was America's 20-year mission a complete failure? Or was there something more behind it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you liked the video, hit the like button. And for more informative content, subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.